Hey everybody, Natalie Cutler-Welsh here. Welcome to Amplify Your Impact. I am here in my kitchen with my cup of tea, and I'm going to do a topic that is a little bit different. So as you know, I love talking about business, I love talking about wellness, I love talking about parenting, and it's all designed to help you up your brave and amplify your impact, say what you want, and make it happen. And today, I'm going to cover a topic that someone approached me about. And it's an anonymous guest, and she's here with me today, but not on the camera. So please join us. We're going to talk about how to not get conned. Okay, lovely guest. You approach me. So tell me, why is this a problem? Why are you so passionate about it that you wanted me to cover it?
Well, recently I listened to a podcast called Conning the Con Man, which is about a New Zealand lady and her sister, but mainly this New Zealand lady, Emma, and they decided to con the con man. And it just got me thinking. I had been in a relationship well in the past from now, years ago, but it just prompted me to think, why are we getting ourselves into this situation and not able to get out of it because we're missing the signs?
Okay, so we're going to talk about signs. First of all, thank you to my viewers. Please, can someone tell me, can you hear my guest? I might get you to move closer. Let me know in the comments, can you hear the guest responding to me? This is the first time I've done an anonymous guest, so I'm sitting here with nobody beside me, but someone across from me. Can you hear? Just let me know in the chat. Maybe just say something.
Hello, can you hear me?
Otherwise, I'll get you to come over here.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to talk about, let me know in the chat, you guys, I'm still waiting, thank you. We're going to talk about the signs. So some people get conned, right? Whether it's a relationship situation or money where you suddenly give all this money to someone because you think that they need it or you think that they love you. What are the signs? What are some people that are maybe more susceptible?
What are the signs? Wow, they're pretty small in the beginning. You're likely to miss them. And when you look back, it all falls into place.
I can hear you. Okay.
So basically, I was listening to this podcast, and it can apply to anyone. You could be an intelligent woman, newly divorced, on the rebound. Hey, you might be dating someone on Tinder. So basically, when I was listening to this podcast, it really did get me thinking because I could relate it to a previous relationship. It only lasted 6 months before I saw the signs. But yes, 6 months, is that too long? Have you given money? Have you fallen for this person? These are the sort of questions that you need to ask yourself when you meet someone new, to be aware. I know it's all a bit like, hey, why don't we just fall in love and relax? But this day and age, there's crafty people out there, and I happened to meet someone quite a long time ago, and he was hiding something from me. I came home one day, there was a smashed plate on the ground in the kitchen, and I thought, how odd? Usually if I smash a plate by accident, drop it, for example, I pick it up. Most people sweep it up and it's in the bin. This happened again about 3 months later, and then we went to events together that involved maybe a member of my family. He would be in front of the mirror staring at himself for quite a long time, longer than me, being a female doing my makeup, but he was actually squeezing his skin, and I kind of thought, this is a bit weird. Why is he squeezing his pimples to the point where they're scaling over? Now, yes, ladies, he was a pee addict, and they can hide it very well, just like a con man can hide his tactics. So basically, I put 2 and 2 together, and the day it hit me, he started to become very abusive towards me, and I managed to get out of there without being strangled to death. So yes, he played a game of cat and mouse with me around the house, and I got out, luckily, by screaming, and he let go because above us was another apartment, and I guess he thought, hey, they might hit. So I was lucky enough to get out, I moved myself out 2 days later with some wonderful friends and got out of there, and then bumped into his sister 8 weeks later in a pub. And I said, "Oh, yes, how is he?" And she said, "Oh, the pee addict he is, I don't know." And so it confirms everything for me. Yeah, it was total distrust. I thought, how can I not see this? Looking back, I ignored the little signs, the ringing bells, that kind of gut feeling. There was another sign. The caretaker in the building had swept up some paraphernalia, and when I put two and two together, it was his stereo face, had a cover to it, the old Pioneer stereo faces, and they come with like a cover, almost like a sunglass cover, that was not in the car, and his stereo was a Pioneer. So, I mean, really, that spoke volumes. But really, I think at the end of the day, ladies, any of us can fall victim to, wanting to be in love. All of us want to be in love. If we've come out of a relationship or we've been divorced, no matter how long it is, we are a little bit vulnerable because we do just want to fall in love. That little girl inside of us just wants to be looked after.
Wanted to ask you something about before the cat and mouse thing.
Yes.
Did you say, you're a pee addict? Had you identified the problem or no?
No.
You just thought it and then.
Yeah, not at all. I had gone to feed the pet in the house, and the pet in the house can be quite vocal. So I closed our bedroom door, and then he opened it and said, "Why are you closing the door?" I said, and quite angry.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, actually, because she makes a lovely noise, and I thought you wanted to sleep in, I'm going to have a shower." And for some reason, he decided to run after me, which was very odd. And and then this all unfolded, and he was next on top of me trying to choke me. It was pretty scary, and I must say, what I did see in a flash at that time was that man that was convicted, and he actually pretended he was on P in the courtroom. And you might remember his name was Tony, and he had a girlfriend and another friend. It was a triangle, and he ended up Killing one of them. I don't know if any of you viewers out there remember the case. It was quite a prominent case over 10 years ago now. Yeah, and that was a big sign for me coming into my head. That was, hell, get out of here now. And I did. I moved out. I moved on. He did actually call my family, which is really odd, but wondered why I'd gone, and she didn't talk about it. And my family contacted me and said, "We can't just walk out. Someone needs closure." Well, in actual fact, I was trying to protect myself, and then I laid charges against him. So there wasn't a trail there for someone that came along later on. Because that's, one thing that really resonated in my mind. What if someone else met him and he was still on P? Mm-hmm. And you know what people on drugs can do? Commit crimes and hurt people. But I think also there's a different hurt. There's someone that can get into your head, and if they want money from you, there's no stopping them. There will be all sorts of ways they can get to you. It could be your newly divorced mum, could be your recently widowed mum. Now, these are people that are feeling a bit lonely online. And you've heard the old story, I met him online and he's coming out from America and he's moving in with me, but I need to send him a little bit of money because he needs it. Now, you're sitting there listening to me thinking, "Oh, yeah, I've heard this before. This is just your usual." But it happened. It happened to a New Zealand woman that was on a program called 2020 and also a program called 60 Minutes. And as you heard me before, conning the con man, that's a really interesting story. And if you can go on to, if you are an Apple user, you can go on to your apps and you can download Conning the Con Man and listen through it that way. And I really think any woman should listen to this, or man, if there's some sneaky woman out there that can do this, because hey, let's get real, we're not sexist in this day and age. It can be a female. So yeah, and I think this resonates with me because it was something that I just thought never happened to me, you know. And hey, it did happen, and I want to spread the word to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that, you know, it can be just someone that's like an alcoholic that's hiding it from you in a new relationship, and who really wants to be with an alcoholic,
mm-hmm. Or
at
gambling,
the end of the day, or
mm-hmm.
gambling. Exactly, gambling's definitely another one. Now, when I finished with this person, a close family member said to me, you know, did he take any money from your accounts? Did you have a joint account? Did you loan him any money? Because obviously, if you're on drugs, you just need your next fix. And surprisingly, no. Luckily, it hadn't got to that stage, or hey, it just didn't happen. But that's another thing. Especially if you are newly divorced and you've had your settlement 2 years later, you've got that lump sum of money in your bank account. You may not have had that in your bank account ever before. But please, please listen to your friends. If they know any signs or hear any signs come out your mouth and you're totally love blinded, please listen to your friends, because they are that voice in your head. What if he is a con man? Well, they'll know. And then you talk yourself out of it. No, God, he couldn't be. Like, that's just silly. But in actual fact, it can happen. So this lady who got conned in New Zealand transferred $250,000 of her divorce money over to this man, and had her friends contacted her earlier via phone. This wouldn't have happened. They were actually discussing amongst themselves, getting hold of her family, trying to work out what best way to approach her about this. And the way they approached her was her friend called her eventually, unfortunately the next morning, and said, look, we've looked this guy up and he's in the Otago Times and he's a con man. He's told you a different surname, but we've got a photo of him and our policeman friend has confirmed it is him, and I'm coming to your house right now. He's definitely not there. He's gone. Yes, he went yesterday. He didn't stay the night. So in actual fact, they could have gone around the night before and stopped all this. But the friend turned up there and said, look, hey, this is happening and I don't know what to do, but you need to get, you know, hold of yourself and realize what we're saying to you is true. And then the girl started thinking, I've just transferred $250,000 to him. No, she said, I don't think it's him. So really, she was still a little bit delusional. And the good end to the story was the brother was signatory to the account and had written the signature via a scan online, sent it back through from England, scanned the document and signed it the Friday before to release this money. He was the co-signer, and yeah, he managed to freeze the money in time. But a lot of those ladies out there, or men out there, you know, it's gone through and they've lost a lot of money.
I imagine. So first of all, thank you so much for sharing your own story, because it's intense, you know, and it's like you have to kind of humility, go like, this happened to me and I never thought it could, but it does. And that's why you're sharing it with people. And then of course, sharing the story from 2020, which I'm sure there's a lot more stories like that, right? That's just one that made the headlines. So Well, I guess what we're saying here, you guys, is it can happen to anyone, whether it's love or money or both. Comment, let us know, has this woken you up a little bit? You know, maybe whether it's for yourself or for a friend that you've got where you're like, oh my God, I've been feeling like something's not right. And what you're saying is listen to that feeling.
Yeah, listen to it no matter how small it is. Don't try and talk yourself out of it. Let it sit there for a while. Hey, what's it to hurt? Let it sit there for a while and think about it.
Yeah. And if friends raise, you know, they raise some concerns, don't just brush them off. They could be wrong, but they could be right. And what if they were? And what would it cost you? So really this is kind of a wake-up call, I suppose, for people just to be like, okay, and especially what you were saying about recently divorced. So there are some people that are more susceptible to this, right? Where some people that are women that are single that maybe just received some sort of payout, or they're really ready for love. They're a little bit lonely. And now in this day and age of technology, I mean, there's always been sneaky people, right?
Yes.
But now it's easier for them. So, and it's so easy to transfer money. And it's so easy for someone to show you a fake photo and never actually meet up in person.
So true.
We can see how this happens. So any other final thoughts? Any comments from you guys watching? Any questions that you've got? Again, I am not the expert in this area or many areas, but what I'm here to do is to shine the light on something that's happening and that's hindering a lot of people. Anything else you want to add, my special guest?
I just want to add, if you're sitting there thinking, now I've just met someone and things are adding up, talk about it. You know, talk about it on our online forum now. Talk about it privately. You could maybe
contact me.
Yeah, sorry. You know, and then we can sort of maybe open up and discuss this again if it leads to another story. I
imagine some people do hire like a private detective or something if they feel a little bit funny about someone.
Yes, they do. And there was that program, you've reminded me, it was probably 15 to 20 years ago now, a New Zealand PI, a lady investigated people's husbands or wives cheating on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of you might be sitting there thinking, oh, yes, I remember that program. Well, hey, let's think about this a bit more from a private investigator's point of view. You can't really think anymore in this day and age when you meet someone online in a wishy-washy, oh, he's lovely way. You have to have your wits about you.
I use this phrase, you know, in business, but also in friendship. When someone shows you their flag, take note of that, right? So let's say you're in a friendship or a business partnership and someone does something and you're like, interesting. Okay. You know, so when someone shows you their flag, you guys, even like once or twice or three times, you need to listen to that. You need to see that flag going, that's like a red flag. That's a danger. And of course, listening to intuition and then doing something about it. And the great news is for you, you were like physically out of there and then you got out.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know, I was strong, but I had good support. I had a close family member, as I said, who I could talk to after, and they resonated with it because they're of similar age, and you know, the signs are there. And I think Natalie made a really good point. This can happen in business too. It's just not in love. It can really happen in business, so you need to keep your wits about you. Those red flags are there.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap it up. That is pretty much this topic, something I've never covered before. But when someone comes to me and is like, this is happening, people are suffering, I'm like, let's talk about it. So we got someone here. I'm just going to put this up on the screen. It's so hard to trust new partners in this day and age, especially women fresh out of marriages who are vulnerable and green. Exactly what we're talking about. I say to all my clients, men and women, do your own PI work, private investigation work. Who on social media knows them that you know. Ask and dig. Amazing advice. This is coming up as anonymous, probably because you're in a private group. But yeah, exactly. It's like, do some digging. It's not rude. It's actually smart. If you meet someone online. I mean, hey, I never did the dating app thing. I've been married for, 17 years or whatever, but I know a lot of friends that are in that scene, and it's exciting, I imagine, and totally scary and freaky. So yeah, do your own digging. don't feel like it's a rude thing to do. You need to know who you're spending time with.
Yeah, be confident. It's really important. You're the one in control when you first meet a male, or vice versa. There could be males watching on here.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that's in control in the beginning. You're the person who you are, wanting to, be.
I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in here, because I do a lot of work around brand and identity and who you are and showing up as the person you want to be, and that's business and that's visibility, and that's fine. But I think that advice can still be applied in this case. I feel like if you find yourself being a former version of yourself, like a shell of who you normally are, and your identity is like your confidence is on the decline, you're suddenly questioning your own opinions. It's like, hang on a second, where did the actual me go? Where has that gone? Because sometimes I know these people, I have about 3 or 4 friends that are divorced from narcissistic husbands. Like I know a lot of people have been down that road. And it's like, when you start like forgetting who you even are,
exactly,
that's a big red flag
real.
For me.
That's very real, but a lot of us in those situations don't realize it's happening. So in the very beginning, really listen to that gut of yours. That's all we're trying to push here, ladies. The awareness is really important. So I really like the feedback on the comments. Is there any more coming through before we close this down?
Yeah. Obviously, this is a Facebook Live, so it's going to stay here. Comments welcome, whether you're watching us live or later. Definitely go ahead and comment. Maybe think about something you're going to take on board, in terms of maybe you are going to reach out to that friend because you've been feeling a little bit funny about their relationship, and even though you don't want things to be awkward, you realize it's worth making things possibly awkward if it's going to save them, just to heighten their awareness, just to dial it up a little bit. Or maybe you're going to look at your life or your relationships, be it business, financial, friendships, a little bit with maybe just a little bit sharper eyesight, possibly. Not that we don't want you to trust people. We just want you to trust yourself first. Does that resonate? Make your comments, and we're looking forward to seeing what you guys think. So until next time, thank you, my lovely guest, for joining me.
Thank you.
If you guys have other topics that you want us to discuss and you want us to put out to the world, then definitely get in touch with me, nataliecutlerwelsh.com, upyourbrave.com. And remember, until next time, up your brave, say what you want, and make it happen. See you guys.